Number two this year, from a growth perspective, is Brisbane at
Okay.
7.9%. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
Brisbane then?
I think if you went in there, you did great. And
Yeah.
I think if you've got FOMO, I think I'd be a bit hesitant to just jump in just because you missed out, right? There is, as you said, it's still great, 7%. I mean, anyone would be happy with 7%,
Mm.
right? But when they start climbing to 900 and then getting closer to a million, it starts to make it harder to make sense because yes, the rent is great, but at that point, how much further can it really go, right? Is it going to topple Sydney? Very, very unlikely. Is it
Mm.
going to break away from Melbourne? Because it is a little bit more than Melbourne now, but maybe, right? You've got the Olympics there as well. But I think all these things have already been priced in. And now with this first homeowner grant, you could probably comfortably add another 50 grand to a property that you probably thought that you liked, right?
Mhm.
So with all those things coming into play, it's probably a boring answer, but if you've got other, diverse portfolio, then Brisbane does make sense. But if it's your only one, there's probably cheaper and better options in other places that might get you a better percentage return, right? If you're just purely focused on the total, right, which not a lot of investors do, but you just wanted a total number, Brisbane might still make sense, right?
Mhm.
And it is a great place to live, right? It is a great city, but unlike and then obviously with Darwin, it's very different to Darwin, right? So that 7% is probably I would probably choose 7% in Brisbane over 10% in Darwin, if I'm being honest. If I was just to compare those
For
two.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And I agree with everything you just said on Brisbane, to be honest. So we kind of stopped buying in Brisbane like end of last year or like even a bit before, like Q3 24.
Yeah.
My main thoughts on Brisbane, to your point, it's becoming very unaffordable. All the property prices there are like kind of hitting their affordability caps. So
Mm,
right now, the growth is fairly limited from a data
mm,
perspective. And even
mm,
if you look at the consumer belts, the average buyer can borrow about $1.2 million for their own home. If Brisbane's coming into that range, you're looking at a minimal growth upside with lower rental yields. So it's a bit more difficult to scale your portfolio. And then obviously there's a lot of pockets close to Brisbane, which are still more affordable, like under $800,000, under
yeah.
$750,000.
Yeah.
But those pockets like Ipswich or, Caboolture and Burpengary up north, what you have is a very strong proportion of investors now
Yeah.
just flocking those markets. And we've been hitting this point this whole podcast. Growth will come from owner occupied kind of
Yes.
demand. And
Yeah.
that's why we're not focused on Brisbane today. We're still very bullish on Brisbane, yes. But do I think that is the best place to put your money in today to kind of help you grow a portfolio? There could be other better options. But again, I don't think to your point, like if you're choosing Brisbane over a location like a Darwin, 100% it makes a lot more sense.